All right, hello everyone, it's silverkyle, and today we're going to be taking a look at everything that I picked up in the month of October 2022, and I have a pretty big haul here. We've got 4 omnibus, a bunch of video games, and a new system, which is always extremely exciting. So let's dive right into it with stuff that I've already kind of shown up already. First one being Avengers versus X-Men, the omnibus, which is it's by far the biggest page count. I can't remember 1580. I can't remember how many it is, but it's thick, but not as thick as I expected it to be. So I guess that they kind of slimmed down a little bit on the paper because I was comparing it to some of the other omnibus that are massive. But just an interesting note of what I realized. Another one I picked up and I did an overview for was Heroes Reborn, America's Mightiest Heroes, not to be confused with the 90s Heroes Reborn. I think this was an event that happened last year. Ultimate X-Men, Volume 1 Omnibus. Out of the 3 that I've shown, this one's the one I'm most excited about. I've actually read a good portion of this previously, and I really did enjoy the Ultimate Universe for Spider-Man and X-Men, kind of soft reboots, or the strongest kind of reboots that you could possibly get for these characters that they had in the 2000s to kind of reintroduce people that, didn't want to read 40 years worth of comics. They kind of had this newer version, which kind of falls in line with these ones more so the 2000 movie, I guess, because they look a little bit more serious and not in their full costumes. And the last omnibus, which I need to do an overview for, this one got a reprint recently, and I had completely forgotten about it. And I feel so bad because it is one of my favorite omnibus series ever. Not just omnibus, just comics in general for DC and Marvel. And that is the Brightest Day by Jeff Johns, which kind of finishes up the 3 Green Lantern omnibus that they have, along with Blackest Night. This is arguably one of the weaker, it's the weakest of those 5, but I feel like as a completionist, I still need to have the entire series because I just absolutely love the Green Lantern run. I was never a fan of Green Lantern, and then I read Jeff Johns and I was like blown away. It's an incredible run. If you have not read any of it, I strongly recommend looking at the first omnibus of Green Lantern because it is absolutely phenomenal. All right, we've got quite a few games here. I ended up getting new Pokemon Snap for $40, so half off. So pretty happy with that. I will have to play the N64 version first. I had played it a long time ago as a kid when I rented it. I don't think I ever beat it, even though it's super short. I feel like my brother and I played it for like an hour or 2, and then that was it. And I think that that's potentially even how long it takes to beat that game, which I've heard that this is rather short. So I'm glad I was able to get it for half off. One that I'm really looking forward to, I have no idea when I'm going to be able to play this, but Monster Hunter Stories Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin. The first one was on 3DS. Normally I like to play these games, chronological, but I think that you can just dive into this and not haven't played the first one at all. This one looks like a lot of fun. So I'm definitely and I got this for, I think this one was 35 and I think this one was 40. It might have been the other way around, but I'm pretty sure that this one was the 35. While I was there, I also decided to pick up Wolfenstein Old Blood, a used copy of this. I know that they're all on Game Pass now, but I still want to collect these, and I think this was like $12 or something like that, so I didn't pay that much at all for it. Code Vein. I am not a fan of Dark Souls type games, but this looks interesting. It's an anime, I think vampire-like Dark Souls-esque video game that caught my attention. It looked different from the other ones. The other ones I think look a little bit too, like they're going way too much into the realistic and seriousness. And I don't really like those games to begin with, but an anime version of that seems a little bit more up my alley. It's still rated M for mature, but it doesn't seem like Elden Ring. And I know that that's blasphemy for probably a lot of people. I played Dark Souls 1. I do want to give Demon Souls a chance, and I also want to give Elden Ring a chance at one of these days, but they're generally not my cup of tea. One of them that I ordered it a while ago, and it just got here, And in that time, they decided that they're going to remake this game or get a port of it out for the Nintendo Switch, which is probably where I'd rather play it. I don't think it's coming out for anything else. I could be wrong on that, though. But I know it's coming out for the Switch next year. And that's Record of Agrest War 1. What are the chances that because I have Record of Agrest War 0, and I remember enjoying that years ago when that first came out. And so 0 is the prequel. This was the first game that came out. Then I think they made a prequel, which is 0. And then they made a Record of Agrest War 2. Now, I think this one in North America only came out for the Xbox 360. And I think the sequel, Record of Agrest War 2, only came out on the PlayStation 3. I think that's how it goes. It's really weird. And now they're putting out a port of it for the Switch. Who knows what's going on with this? But this is essentially it's 2D sprites in like a 3D environment, strategy RPG, and you play as some characters that eventually have children, like whoever you decide to get together with in terms of the characters will have children, and then they'll have children of their own. So there's like 3 different chapters, I guess, like 3 different arcs, where it's the grandparents that you play when they're young, then you play as the parents, then you play as the children of those. You play 3 different lineages, I guess. Paid a lot for this one, but I'm really getting into the series. Granted, I've really only played one of the games, but I absolutely love it, and that is The Legend of Heroes 2, Prophecy of the Moonlight Witch for the PSP. So The Legend of Heroes is a massive series that is mainly on the PlayStation 4, and you really don't need to play the PSP games. You should start with Trails in the Sky, which is on the PSP, but not part of this trilogy. And this is an odd one because in North America, this is the first one. It's called The Legend of Heroes 2, but the first one that we have called The Legend of Heroes 1, and I can't remember what it's called. I do have a PSP. I don't think they're over there. Either way, that one's technically the second one, and then Legend of Heroes 3 is actually properly, that's the actual title. It is a third one for the title and chronologically as well. I don't know why that happened. Just some weird stuff from when it went from Japan to North America. But either way, we get the second one, which is technically the first. The one that has just Legend of Heroes is the actual second one. And then Legend of Heroes 3, which is the most expensive one that I don't have, that I do need to get for the collection at some point in time, but it's extremely expensive, so I'm probably going to have to wait a bit before I can eventually get that. Either way, though, I'm extremely happy to have all these games. I think next year, because I'm just trying to beat a bunch of 2022 games right now, I think that next year, because I want to play The Legend of Heroes Trails from Azure and Trails from Reverie, I might be mispronouncing that last one, but I want to play those ones, and to get to that point, I'll have to beat like 9 Trails games. I'll have to beat the Trails trilogy, Trails from Azure, which is the follow-up to the one that came out just recently. Do I have it here? Trails from Zero. And then there's 4 Cold Steel ones after that. I'm just going to be playing so much Legend of Heroes. However, I got something to kind of help myself with that. And I hope it's in here. Feels like it's in here. Yeah. And that is the Steam Deck, which I did an overview for. I did an unboxing anyway. I'm basically just going to be using it mainly as an RPG machine. I did play Apex on this, and I should do a review of it, because to play really fast-paced games, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this at all. It's not as comfortable as I'd like it to be, especially to maneuver around in Apex where you have to go extremely fast. But if you want to play something like, I don't know, Elden Ring, which is an extremely fast-paced game, I don't think it would work great on this. It doesn't feel comfortable. Not that you can't do everything that you want to do. It's still responsive. Like when I was playing Apex, I felt like it was very responsive, but it's not comfortable. As comfortable as I'd like it. It's still more comfortable than the regular Nintendo Switch. But then when you put on, like if you get, what's it called? What is it called? Starts with an S. It's just not coming to me. You can put an attachment on it that makes it more comfortable for the back, or you could also get different Joy-Cons, which also makes it much more comfortable. And then I could actually play. I was able to play Apex on the Switch, which is absolutely atrocious. It looked really nice and much better on the Steam Deck compared to the Switch. I was really impressed with that, but not the greatest. So this is mainly going to be my Trails in the Sky because those ones, only the first one is physical on PSP. The sequel is a digital on PSP, and the third one never came out here in North America other than like on PC. So I decided that I'll just make this a Trails machine, and I'm going to play a bunch of other RPGs on this that are more in that era or style, as in not a crazy big game. Like I wouldn't play any of the Tales games or Final Fantasy Remake, for example, but I might play Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, the Pixel remasters. That's another one that I would really love, but I feel like that's going to come out on Switch. And at that point, it's the same thing. Plus, I could also play it. You could also play these games. You can get a dock for the Steam Deck to play it on TV as well. I think I might get that eventually just to kind of try it out. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's everything that I picked up in the month of October. Rather expensive because there's quite a few things here. More so the Steam Deck. But yeah, that's everything I picked up. Let me know in the comments below what you picked up in the month of October and what you're looking forward to in November. Thank you all for watching. You have been bearded in. Beardage! I didn't get close enough, but that's good enough.